Have you ever seen a person who has descended the depths of obliviousness so far that she's become a parody of herself? A person who satirizes her own beliefs and behaviors without even realizing it? I'm talking about the type of self-parody that's so bad you couldn't even write it. Write all the jokes you want. You couldn't mock this person any better than she does to herself, but unintentionally. I'll give you an example. Let's say you ask a feminist activist why she's a feminist activist. And she responds,
because misogyny and America hates women and Puritanism is great. Yeah.
More buzzwords than a dictionary in a beehive. That's the type of self-parody I'm talking about. If you wanted to satirize feminism, you could hire a team of the world's most clever writers. Or you could just save the cash and talk to this actual feminist instead. And if she looks familiar, yes, that is the meme queen of the month, Moldylocks, in some newly released footage recorded earlier in the year, sporting an unpunched face and no shirt. Because as we'll hear, shirts are the misogynist, puritanical manifestation of America's hatred for women. She was interviewed with her boyfriend Tony on the streets of LA during the Women's March weekend back in January. And based on the exchange, I'm starting to understand why these two choose to attack their adversaries with crude makeshift weaponry instead of wit.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey. What is your name?
Emily.
Emily, it's very nice to meet you. And you, sir?
Tony.
Tony, nice to meet you.
It should be noted she says her name is Emily, since she told local CBS News her name is Louise. Was she lying then? Is she lying now? Has she ever told the truth about anything? The universe is full of great unanswerable questions. But for now, we'll just have to settle for the obvious question of why isn't she wearing a shirt?
And why are we marching and why are we topless?
I'm topless because it's kind of bullshit that I can get put in jail for 6 months and get fined like $1,000 for not having these Band-Aids on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because misogyny and America hates women and Puritanism is great.
I see. Well, perspective is key. If you think flashing a nipple in America gets you the wrath of the patriarchy, try flashing an ankle in a mosque and count your blessings. If you survive to count them, of course.
Tony, what about you? What are you hoping to accomplish today?
Really, I'm just here to support her and support other women to hopefully accomplish equal rights. Because it's absolute BS that just because I was born with a penis, I have more rights than anyone else.
Well, I think it's BS that you claim to be advantaged but look like a hobo. What the hell happened to all your privilege? Donated to feminist charity or redistributed to the commune? If you claim that you're automatically ahead, but this is all that you've accomplished, the interviewer asks exactly the right question. What are the advantages that you have exactly?
Aside from not being allowed to be topless in public, what other rights do we not have equality for?
Well, I guess not being paid equally.
If you want to earn more, put on a shirt and study a STEM field. If you want money for doing nothing, get a better sugar daddy. But this has all the earning potential of an R. Kelly lemonade stand. What else you got?
A lot of women don't have the right to their reproductive organs.
What? Is there a serial ovary burglar on the loose? A ninja surgeon performing nocturnal hysterectomies on unsuspecting victims? Women don't have the right to their reproductive organs. Of course, she's speaking euphemistically for getting an abortion. But even that doesn't make sense. You don't have that right, except for the constitutional right that has existed for your entire lifetime and multiple decades previously. So when you say women don't have the right to their reproductive organs, what you really mean is women do have the right to terminate life within their reproductive organs. But at least we're still closer to the truth than that equal pay garbage.
Well, I mean, there's also basic things like health insurance companies will cover things like vasectomy, even penis enlargement, but not women's health care.
You can get penis enlargement covered by your health insurance?
Yeah, Viagra's covered, but birth control is not.
It's amazing how precisely disconnected from the truth these two are. Everything they say is just flat out wrong. Not exaggerated, not embellished, just straight up, stone cold wrong. To the first point on penis enlargement, as a general rule, health insurance isn't going to cover a cosmetic procedure. Health insurance would only cover a genuine health condition, a dysfunction, or a deformity, like ED or a micropenis. So if this dude is eligible for penis enlargement covered by health insurance, you gotta wonder why. And to the second part, she claims health insurance covers Viagra, but not contraception. Just No, all plans offered under the Affordable Care Act must provide contraceptives without charge. But even if that weren't true, the original question was about rights. This isn't a matter of rights, it's a matter of insurance company policy, as Tony acknowledges.
Is that like an Affordable Care Act thing? Like I could get an enlargement?
It's actually that's a health insurance policy.
How is insurance company policy a matter of rights? If I go to a store and all the products in there suck, I don't say the store violated my rights. I say, all the stuff in here sucks. I think I'll go to a different store. If your insurance company has crappy policy, shop for a different policy. But that's just the gateway to the logical void we're about to enter. The interviewer brings us back to equal pay.
Okay, so you said equal pay. Is it a law that women get paid less? I'm confused.
Well, I know that a little while ago they tried to pass a bill to make it so that companies were required to pay equal.
Well, I know that half a century ago they did pass a bill to make it so that companies are required to pay equal. For equal work, of course. The aptly named Equal Pay Act of 1963.
But Republicans voted no on it because they said that it would cost businesses too much in the lawsuits that would happen from women suing their companies for not paying them equally. So to the people who say that that's not true, that happens. That was a bill that happened. So
That was a bill that tried to happen. I assume she's talking about the Paycheck Fairness Act. It tried to happen 10 times in the last 20 years, but it never passed, not because people like discrimination. Discrimination is already against the law. Legislators vote against it because it's a garbage bill that goes far beyond what's necessary, among other provisions requiring accused employers to prove any pay discrepancy is due to factors other than sex. It's presumption of guilt rather than presumption of innocence. It's like saying murder laws aren't enough. We ought to pass a law to make everyone prove they don't murder.
What do you say to economists that say if companies were able to pay women 77 cents on the dollar, they would hire all women because of how much money it would save?
that doesn't even make sense.
Are you sure it doesn't make sense?
This is not a person qualified to explain what makes sense. Tony, you're here to support her, so mansplain it for us, please.
Economically speaking.
Economically speaking, if there's also the social stigma that women can't do some jobs. You know, labor jobs, which are considered manly, masculine jobs, they frown upon hiring women for.
Huh. Let's have a look at some of these manual labor jobs, like fishermen and loggers and roofers and steel workers. One thing these jobs all have in common is they're also the most dangerous, specifically the most deadly. And your claim, Tony, is that there's this big line of women trying to get these jobs, but they're being denied by those awful discriminatory bosses. Have you considered the alternative explanation that women aren't doing these jobs not because of discrimination, but because women generally don't like the roughness and the grit and the dying?
That's why they aren't going to hire all women, because it's cheaper labor. Not to mention there are still regulations in effect that if it's an all-male staff or an all-women staff, there are lawsuits can follow to essentially sue them based on their gender.
If lawsuits can follow for discrimination in the workplace, under what law might these suits be filed? I thought Republicans blocked all those bills.
The thing is, since culturally we don't talk about pay, so they expect her not to tell me that she's making 70 cents on the dollar compared to me.
So they hire women and pay them less money for the same work, and then expect them to tell nobody about the discrimination so that the scheme can continue. And this is your answer as to why businesses don't hire all women. Paying less and saying nothing about it sounds like a perfect plan for a business to save money. What you've described is the incentives and the perfect plan for businesses to hire all women.
Interesting. All right, well, thank you so much. Have a great day.
And to think this is only their second most embarrassing experience of 2017. But don't worry, there's still plenty of time to reach a new low. I want to give some credit to the interviewer here. This is my first time listening to him, but he strikes a nice balance between friendliness and asking challenging questions. He only applies the slightest pressure And these two fumble and faceplant over their own incompetence and ignorance and do the job of making the case against them themselves. That's the power of the Socratic method. That's the power of the greatest question ever asked. Why? Apply that question introspectively, and it helps you avoid embarrassing behavior like topless public marching on behalf of bankrupt ideas. Apply that question to others, and it forces you to consider perspectives beyond your own. If you consider perspectives beyond your own, you're probably kicked out of Antifa, but you'd probably opt out of it anyway. If getting punched squarely in the face and simply being asked why you believe what you believe are similarly embarrassing experiences for you, it's time to reevaluate. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Okay, bye.